Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our regular council meeting of Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. I will now call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Administrative and procedural issues, 2.1, recommended motion is that the agenda be approved as presented. Before I say that, are there any other additions or changes to the agendas?
Not that I'm aware of, Your Worship.
Thank you. Okay. Motion to approve the agenda, moved by Councillor Lockhart, seconded by Councillor McCormick. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you very much. 2.2, declaration of conflict of interest, whereby members are required to declare conflict of interest prior to any discussion on the matter. 2.3, approval of minutes. The recommended motion is that the minutes of the January 28th, 2026 regular council meeting be approved. Do I have a motion for that effect, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor Gould, seconded by Councillor O'Telling. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Business arising.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Go ahead.
And business arising is at pages 9 and 10 of Council's package today. On page 9 is the business arising from the most recent council meeting in January. All items are complete, save for 2, which are the completion of a couple of real estate transactions in Lambs Hill Road, Hillsborough, and the final progression of the bylaw to amend municipal planning strategy and the rezoning on 40 Chapel Street in Spring Hill. So those are both still in progress. Happy to answer any questions on those before I move on to the rest.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hurd. Anyone have any questions on that? Seeing none, continue along.
Thank you. So page 10 is the ongoing action list, items that hang over from that are carryover. Sorry, that's probably more appropriate. The carryover from past council meetings. We've been able to knock a couple of them off the list, but still outstanding are the designation of the Swan Creek Protected Wilderness Area and the documentation relating to the execution of this for the sale of lands at Amherst Point to Environment and Climate Change Canada. So happy to answer any questions.
Any questions on that from council? Seeing none, we'll move right along.
Thank you.
2.5, public hearings / presentations. 2.5.1 is a presentation on geothermal research project update, and the presentation will be provided by Dr. Trevor Kelly, geothermal coordinator. And Mr. Boone, you're involved in this too. Go ahead. Do we have him?
Yeah,
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm not going to take very long. I just want to introduce the topic. Trevor is on the Zoom link to present. Also with him is Mark Tekamp from the department, from the province. And it's just an opportunity for us to give an overview of the work that Trevor's been doing for the last almost 3 years, as well as talk about the geothermal greenhouse action plan. Well, that was a project that finished up last year, but just took some time to put all of the details together, and that was an action plan that was funded by both the former council as well as the province and the Nova Scotia Community College. So today is just a chance to get council an update. There's the reports that have been handed out to you, so you have the full reports. Obviously, Trevor can't present the whole report or both of those reports in the timeline that's allowed. So the reports are yours to peruse, and certainly can ask questions at Trevor at the end. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Trevor. Hopefully technology is good to us. And also mention that Steve Ferguson is with us today too. He's been quite involved in this project as a staff member as well. So Trevor and Mark, thank you.
Thank you very much, Glenn. So how's the sound coming through?
Seems to be fine.
Okay.
Very good. Yep. Go ahead, Trevor. And welcome.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon, council members and members of the public. So my name is Trevor Kelly, and I am the Geothermal Energy Technical Coordinator for the municipality of Timberland. So thank you for the opportunity to present today. I'm here to discuss 2 interconnected initiatives. The first being the role of the Geothermal Energy Technical Coordinator, and the second being the Geothermal Greenhouse Action Plan. So these projects represent a a significant step towards sustainable energy use and local economic development in Cumberland County. Next slide, please. So the role of the Geothermal Energy Technical Coordinator is to continue the momentum from the 2023 to 2025 plan initiatives, which were developed in collaboration with the Nova Scotia Department of Energy. The plan focuses on 5 key themes: data gathering, resource evaluation, economic utilization, pilot project demonstration, professional development, and a broader geothermal analysis of the Cumberland County beyond water geothermal. So these themes ensure that we are building a strong foundation for geothermal adoption. So my first compilation report, the cover pictured there, compiles my work up to June 2025, and hard copies of this report are available to members of council. Next slide, please. So a Geothermal Research Advisory Committee was established to develop methods to share knowledge and data, identify and address knowledge gaps, plan and engage in outreach based on feasibility findings, and communicate research outcomes. Members of the Geothermal Research Advisory Committee include the Honorable Tory Rushton, MLA for Cumberland South, Mayor Rod Gilroy, District 3 Councillor Jennifer Hotelling, District 5 Councillor Angela McCormick, District 6 Councillor Scott Lockhart, CAO Greg Harrett, Director of Development Planning Glenn Boone, Senior Advisor Climate Change and Special Projects Steve Ferguson, NSCC Cumberland and Truro Campus Principal Lek Kerswanos, faculty member at NSCC Cumberland Dennis Embry, and Nova Scotia Department of Energy staff, including Executive Director Kim Dome, Director Adam McDonald, Manager Fraser Kepi, and Mark T. Camp, who helps organize and present content to the Geothermal Research Advisory Committee. Next slide, please. So the Geothermal Research Advisory Committee, or GRAC for short, plays a critical role in guiding research and feasibility studies, especially with respect to mine water geothermal systems. The GRAC ensures stakeholder engagement across the municipality, provincial agencies, academia, and industry. It aligns our projects with Nova Scotia's clean energy and greenhouse gas reduction goals while promoting innovation and economic development. Next slide, please. Spring Hills mine water geothermal resource has been highlighted in numerous consultant reports as a unique opportunity, with the reports pictured here suggesting greenhouses as an ideal user of mine water geothermal energy. The community and municipality see strong potential for economic, social, and environmental benefits, especially through local food production. This is where the Geothermal Greenhouse Action Plan comes in. Next slide, please. So the Geothermal Greenhouse Action Plan was developed through an equal funding partnership and guided the GRAC with input from the municipality, Nova Scotia Community College, and the province. Its purpose is simple: outline how we can leverage geothermal energy to create a sustainable greenhouse model. The Spring Hill Geothermal Greenhouse Action Plan outlines a pathway to develop a community greenhouse utilizing mine water geothermal energy, beginning with an overview of Spring Hill's geothermal resource, followed by an assessment of mine water temperatures, well data, and thermal potential. The plan evaluates 3 greenhouse development scenarios and provides guidance on crop selection, energy performance, and operational considerations. It concludes with a set of prioritized action items focused on project readiness, data collection, drilling and extraction well, and identifying an investment partner, ultimately positioning Spring Hill to advance sustainable agriculture, local food production, clean energy innovation in the region. The Spring Hill Geothermal Greenhouse Action Plan fulfills the commitments outlined in the partnership agreement and delivers significant value. Hard copies of the geothermal greenhouse action plan are also available for members of council. Next slide, please. So Spring Hill's abandoned coal mines contain large volumes of warm water that are ideal for heating and cooling. Local facilities already use this resource and have been since the late 1980s. So expanding into agriculture offers a chance to boost food production, reduce emissions, and showcase innovation, among other things. Next slide, please. Our vision is for Spring Hill to lead in sustainable agriculture through mine water geothermal energy. Our mission is to build an energy efficient greenhouse that increases local food production and reduces emissions, with the goal being a mid-sized pilot greenhouse project, which achieves as much as 67% energy savings while fostering partnerships for future growth within the municipality and throughout the province. So the photo shown here is from a prior visit to the Den Haag greenhouse in Lawrencetown, Nova Scotia. Next slide, please. Spring Hill's mine water provides moderate temperatures that are more than adequate for modern heat pump systems. This ensures high efficiency and significant cost savings relative to traditional systems. So the photo shows a portion of the mine water geothermal equipment contained within the newly constructed Spring Hill Fire Station. Next slide, please. So the proposed greenhouse, as assumed by the Geothermal Greenhouse Action Plan, is 1,100 square meters in size, which is approximately a quarter acre, and would use passive solar principles and low temperature heating, thereby reducing annual energy costs by as much as $51,000, while supporting education and community engagement. The figure, which is from the Geothermal Greenhouse Action Plan, shows an example of what a greenhouse could look like. Next slide, please. To move forward with the Geothermal Greenhouse Action Plan, numerous action items will need to be addressed, such as improving project readiness through cost and production estimates and market studies, collecting data by drilling a new extraction well and monitoring mine water temperatures, and developing relationships with private owners through targeted outreach and transparent selection. So the photograph shown here is also from the Den Haag greenhouse in Lawrencetown, which was taken on a previous visit. Next slide, please. So this graphic shown here is from the Geothermal Greenhouse Action Plan. It shows the possible location of a mid-sized mine water geothermal greenhouse on a vacant gravel lot next to the community center, along with the location of extraction, re-injection wells, and the associated underground piping. So this scenario is described in detail within the Geothermal Greenhouse Action Plan. Next slide, please. So beyond the geothermal greenhouse pilot project, we see potential for mine water geothermal expansion into other buildings throughout Spring Hill. One example being a retrofit at the Spring Hill Provincial Municipal Building to eliminate the need for oil-fired system that's currently in use there. A study is currently underway to retrofit the NSCC campus building, which also uses an oil-fired system. And additionally, the new Nova Scotia Community College student housing building on the former site of the Spring Hill Fire Station could also benefit greatly from mine water geothermal, and that is being actively worked on as well. So in summary, these initiatives can position Cumberland County as a leader in clean energy and sustainable agriculture. They offer economic growth, numerous environmental benefits, and community resilience. So I thank you all for your attention, and yeah, my colleagues and I are available to answer any questions.
Go ahead. Thank you very much, Trevor.
You're welcome.
Anyone have any questions? Council? Councilor Fromm, go ahead. Can you hear us quite well, Trevor?
It's a bit fuzzy, but I can probably manage.
Okay, good, thank you. Go ahead.
Your worship, I just wondering, like, for future scale, how big of a greenhouse project could this be? Like, are we talking about?
Yeah, great question. So one of the scenarios within the action plan looked at, I believe, a 5-acre size greenhouse. So we know from our research that the Spring Hill coal mines contain a vast volume of water. So it's conceivable that it could handle a number of large greenhouses. So yeah, that's one of the scenarios we considered.
Thank you.
Councilor Fromm? Mr. Boone?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Back to Councillor Fromm. Obviously, the report looked at different scales, right? Something of that size that Trevor's talking about would probably have a commercial component to it, so it wouldn't be something that the municipality would be looking at doing. So just for clarity, because obviously the costs associated with that would be significant. So just for clarity for the group and the folks that may be listening, and for council, that's just one of the options. So kind of the largest to something to be more community focused and community oriented. So I think it's just important to note that.
Yeah, and I think the other part of it would be the opportunity to, have a land lease or whatever at a very reasonable rate compared to other transactions where somebody might have to pay a lot of money for a piece of land in another spot. So,
Yeah. Thank you.
Councilor Lockhart, go ahead.
This is more of a comment. So we've been having this geothermal in Spring Hill since actually probably the mid-'80s. There was a bunch of, we just had it online, there was a bunch of people using it, the new fire hall, the arena, it works. And we're talked about, in Sweden when they have meetings about Spring Hill. I come from a racing background. We've been getting this race car ready for a long time. We need to get it on the track. And I know when I got elected, it was one of my things, at first, when the committees come up, I wanted to be on this committee. And especially the other night, I think it was a week ago, on the news, there was a thing about the grocery prices in Atlantic Canada. And we have the highest food inflation in Canada. And we hear, all of our vegetables and all that have to come from the United States. We know of all the turmoil that's going on down there. I think this is the golden opportunity for this. So I just really, want to commend you for all your work and everybody on the committee, but I just say someone sits up there, the mayor made this comment when I first got elected, 4 years goes pretty quick. Well, a year and a half's gone pretty quick, and you need to get shovels in the ground. We need to get shovels in the ground, and I think the government appetite right now is for using our energy and not relying on other countries or other people. And we're sitting on in my opinion, a gold mine of energy here. So I want to applaud you, and just anything we can do to get this moving along quicker. I know I'm 150% behind it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Lockhart. Anyone else? Seeing no other questions or comments from council, thank you very much, Trevor, Mark, and Glenn, and Steve, for all of the ongoing work, and the forward-looking plan now is to find a partner or find someone to start the project, and hopefully in the near future we can get something going. So very much look forward to it. Mr. Boone, do you have something more to say?
No, I just want to recognize Mark and Trevor and Steve in getting this together. It's been a long time coming. Greg's been involved. Knows there's a lot to the report, so summarizing it was a bit of a challenge. And Trevor's not nervous. He just got back from the sun, so that's why he got a little bit of color in his face there. So, all right, welcome home, Trevor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you. Appreciate it. Number 3, strategic and priority issues. There are none for today. And major organizational issue items, there are none. Organizational policy and bylaw items, 5.1, first reading. Bylaw to amend the LUB 26-03 to rezone PID 25067778, 530 John Black Road, East Amherst. Mr. Boone, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I guess I stayed in the chair, got it warmed up. So with all of our planning processes, Your Worship and members of council, first step is obviously the first reading. So bringing this project in front of you for the first time. So give you an overview, happy to answer any questions, but we would have opportunity to do a more detailed presentation when we get to a public hearing stage, should council make that decision. So this is a rezoning, as mentioned, and we're looking at taking a portion of the PID and changing it to the resource designation. So to go from the country residential zone to the rural resource zone. And the reason for this is we have some minor policy around solar as an accessory use, but in this case, this would be solar as a main use. So therefore, the discussion in around changing the zoning. But more importantly to note, as council's aware, we have recently done some changes with our agreement with the town of Amherst. So this is an area that would be within that area that would be eligible or maybe subject to central services in the future. So we took that in consideration when we were looking at the PID as a whole. So next slide, Peter, please. So the concept you see to the left, it shows in the lighter kind of grayish blue the area that would be subject to the development of the solar. The yellow you see is the road that actually accesses one of the two wind turbines out there. One is on the subject property. So you see the area that the yellow road brings into it. And the reason we've looked at this particular area, Natural Forces Solar have laid this out to ensure that we have that buffer between what's a blueberry field in the front lands to the upper left, and then the gray area would be where the solar panels would actually be installed. And to the bottom of that photo, you see a lighter blue. That's some wetlands that are back there that would be required to have a buffer, which is that red line on the concept plan. The picture there is just showing you a typical solar install that the developer provided us. I should note that representatives from Natural Forces are here today. Just want to be part of the process, so they are the guests in the gallery, Your Worship. So this was provided for us just so we can have an idea what the impact looks like on the land. So obviously solar is different than wind because it's lower to the ground, oriented to catch the sun in the best opportunities. Potential to support up to 700 homes if this project was to go forward. It would be submitted through the Community Solar Project Program, and would be an opportunity maybe to look at a balance between maybe some businesses and homes taking advantage of the solar. As you know, with the Community Solar Project, there is opportunities for folks to subscribe to the project and get the benefit of it without actually having to be a capital partner in it. So as I mentioned, we looked at the offset from the water course, but what you'll see in your package as well as a text amendment. So I'll go to the next slide, Peter, please. So what we've done is a text amendment here, and what we've added is creating a vegetative buffer from the common property line of any existing adjacent residential developments. So looking at protecting residentially zoned lands, or if there's residential development or a subdivision under development. This change to the text under our solar section 5.3 would just require that a vegetative buffer be maintained. Now the operator, Your Worship, and members of council have committed to doing that, and we have had good rapport with Natural Forces because we're working with them on some wind projects, but this just makes sure that it's actually part of the land use bylaw. Next slide, Peter, please. So we, as part of that, will define vegetative buffer. I'm not going to read it to you. It is in your package. So we're having to add a definition to align with that change to section 5.3. And next slide, Peter. So this is just a zoom in on the rezoning. So you can see specifically, we're not rezoning the whole PID. And as I mentioned earlier, we're aligning this zoning change to ensure that that existing tree line is maintained as part of the zoning change. And this leaves us significant land on this parcel should, in the future, we look at residential development. I did some just very rough concepts of what we could do there. So this still allows a fairly significant number of residential lots that could still happen there in the future. I will say, Your Worship and members of council, it would take quite a stretch to get services out here in the future, so it would not be an immediate development plan, but should the owner of the land decide to turn it into residential, there is that opportunity that we've maintained. Next slide, Peter, please. So quickly, with all of these projects, first reading, we go to public hearing. Should council give first reading and ask us to do that, we'll follow the MGA as far as advertisements. No significant environmental concerns. What I did mention is that we're changing the bylaw slightly to add the vegetative buffer. The owner has also maintained the buffer from the wetlands, so I mentioned those things already. Financial implications, location and technical details allow for the efficient use of the land and the infrastructure, because there's already power grid connections there for the wind, as well as there's existing relationships with the electrical consumers would be through the program of subscriptions, as I mentioned earlier. So other than that, Your Worship, the recommendation before you, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boone. The recommended motion is that council approve first reading of the bylaw to amend the land use bylaw 26-03 to rezone a portion of PID 2506-7778 530 John Black Road, East Amherst, from country residential zone to the rural resource zone, and to amend section 5.3 of the LUB to add policy 5.3.6 and add vegetative buffer as a definition under section 14 of the LUB and schedule a public hearing. If someone would like to make that motion. Moved by Councillor Lockhart, seconded by Councillor Hoteling. So anyone have any questions or comments on this at this time? I have a few, so if you, Mr. Boone, if you could run it back to the aerial photograph showing the proposed site.
I'm not very technical savvy, so Peter will have to do that.
My associate to the left here will do that, so. Just that, just a number of questions, that's all.
Yeah. I talked about using a chalkboard earlier today, and people weren't sure what I was talking about, so.
Yeah, nope. The other picture that shows the actual drawing of the site.
I think number 3, Peter.
That one on the left, that's it there. So the, there we go. So the red line at the back of the property, that other line is the natural gas pipeline, correct?
It is, and that is also outside where the buffer would be off the wetland.
Okay. The front section where it makes a left turn off the existing road that's there now to go to the windmills, is that behind the gate?
Where
there
on the
or in
yellow
front
where
of
the bump is, Your Worship?
Yes, where it makes the left turn on the road that's not there because there's no road to the left there right now. Okay, the proposed road,
Yeah.
where it turns left at the yellow, the first yellow left coming up the hill.
Yeah.
Is that should, and is intended to be behind the current locked gate that is locked up as part of the windmill project?
So I'll confirm this with the developer in advance of the public hearing.
Okay.
But my understanding is we're trying to utilize existing facilities that are in place, both roads and the connection to the power grid. Because obviously it helps with the economics and the capital investment. But my understanding is that the site itself would likely be secured as far as access goes. So you just want to make sure there's limited access to the site.
One question,
Okay.
yes, because immediately to the right of that lane coming up, and just as a footnote to all of this, I live directly across the road. So I'm going to get a lot of questions, so I might as well know the answers before we start at this point in time. There's a proposed, or will be a proposed development on the right-hand side of the lane leading into the windmills coming before.
Very
guys.
familiar with it.
You're
Yes, Your
familiar
Worship.
with that. So, so the vegetative buffer, knowing that piece of property currently has a lot of hurricane damage as far as trees on the ground and whatever, and certainly is a danger to start a forest fire. So it's nice to hear that it would be cleaned up in that regard. But on the other hand, the buffer that's currently there is stuff that's, some of it's 60, 70 feet high, which would impede the site plane for some of the solar panels, I would think. And it's got a lot of blowdowns in it and whatever. I would be of the opinion that perhaps we cleaned that up and replanted it with something that's not going to grow quite so high, but would be maybe a little more dense, would be an opinion that I would have on that.
Okay.
And the last one, but not least, Glenn, before I finish, is the wetland that's to the backside, indicated on that, is that, who decided that that was a wetland? Because it shows, one would look at this and think that that's a body of water, and it's clearly not. I've walked on every inch of it, in the last, few years, and there's no water there, although it is a bit of boggy spots in places and whatever. Is that a registered wetland from the province of Nova Scotia, for example? Because somebody's gonna ask me.
Okay. So I'll step it back. I think we have the first question answered with access. So going to try to utilize some of the access that's already in place. Same as I said, the transmission grid connection. The plan around those developments on both sides of the road there actually would be adjacent and to the upper side of John Black Road, or the kind of north side. The vegetative buffer would look at residential developments, and so we're using residential developments in that definition, because it could be existing residential property that could be 50 acres, but it's still residentially occupied and utilized, or it could be the new development that we've been in conversations with the owners and developers about. So the plan would be that the vegetative buffer, if there's existing tree line, we'd be looking at maintaining existing tree line, unless the developer tells us there is an issue with that, then we'll have to have that conversation.
Okay.
The reason being is trees take a while to grow.
Yeah.
And you have so what we're trying to do is utilize the existing buffer.
And I get that. but-
And I think that in our conversations with them to date, and we'll talk more about this at the public hearing, but our conversation to date is that they feel that technically the site should work that way. There is a little grade as you go up, so that helps. The delineation of the wetland, your worship, and members of council, that was done in consultation. The developer, Natural Forces, did that. We don't delineate wetlands, the Nova Scotia Environment does, and, but I can tell you it's not part of the Marshlands Act that we're aware of. But I'll defer the question and we'll get you a clear answer for the public hearing. But what they're trying to do there is be honest with the delineation. It isn't a body of water, as you said, it's more, and if you look at the air photos, you will see water is there at different times of the year. But I would say it's fair to say it's more of a wetland marsh area than it's really,
lot of
it's
moss.
certainly not a lake or a pond.
A lot of moss in the understory
Yeah,
and whatever.
for sure.
So. But the other thing too, like, it'd be fair to point out, at this point in time too, is that the, eastern end of the property towards the power line, quite frankly, there's, if you look at a nominal setback from a power line from any other point of view other than a solar farm, it's really not developable land, because nobody is gonna wanna live right in the, right underneath that or close to, that power line of that magnitude, right? So, so when you're thinking about it, somebody would say, well, we're taking out 5.5 acres or whatever it is to put in a solar farm of good developable land. It's really not the case. Probably a third of that, all the way down that side of the property, is not developable for any other use, quite frankly, so.
Yeah. So, your worship, just a couple points I was gonna make more at the public hearing, but when this land was zoned under the original planning document, which we're reviewing now, the reality is the country residential zone probably shouldn't went back as far as it did. So we might not even be here talking about a rezoning today, because it would be a by right development. The upside of this is that Natural Forces has been very open about the project, have lots of good conversations. They'll get a chance to present at the public hearing as well. And we've just been very conscious about trying to find the balance, as I always say, and I'm sure you're tired of me hearing saying it's always about finding the balance. So that's what we're trying to do with the buffer. That's what we're ensuring happens with regards to buffers and setbacks from property lines and from water courses or wetlands, because our requirement for 15 meters from any type of body of water, which includes marsh or a bog or ponds, applies throughout the whole municipality, not just on our shoreline that we've talked many times about. So, so I just thought there was 2 points just important to make, so I didn't want to drag it, but we can certainly be more detailed, and we'll ensure we have more details in your questions at the
I don't
public
get a
hearing.
chance to ask questions at a public hearing, so.
Yeah,
that's why I'm gonna
no,
ask
it's
that. I
fair.
get them in now, so.
And you certainly can again at the second reading, but let's get the questions ready for the public hearing.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, ready for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Boone.
Thank you, Worship.
Business issues, 6.1, don't go away, Glenn. Think it's you again. Acquisition of lands. Why is he trying to run away? It's unusual for him to try to run away. Go ahead,
I
sir.
thought maybe you had enough of me today. I guess I was forgetting this is a two-part project, so thank you.
Acquisition of lands, that's all it says, information to be distributed, business issues, 6.1.
Yeah.
That relates to the in-camera.
Yeah, so this was the matter that was in camera, so the package would be 100% the same as the in-camera information. So this was the acquisition in respect to lands around the well field, the Pugwash well field. So to,
Right.
yeah,
Earlier
just
today,
to
yes.
set it up, your worship, this is an acquisition we're gonna do through the Nature Trust, lands, acquisition around the well field. The project is supported by the Nature Trust program, which is a partnership we have with the province through funding that comes from the federal government. So this acquisition really is all funded through that program. And at this point, we are ready to move forward on the one project, or one site within the project. There was 5 properties presented to council back in December, and we're ready to move on the one, which is the Vandenberg property that is in your package of information. So I'll be happy to answer any other questions. But the motion, I guess, is the one you have before you, so.
Thank you very much. You have something you want to add?
Any questions?
I
Happy
don't
to
have a
answer.
motion anywhere, so.
Motion is right.
I'm waiting for the motion, hang on.
I just have, just a question on, before we bring the motion forward. There was some comment in the discussion earlier about being up to 25 acres or up to $20,000. Can you clarify for me?
Yep, your worship, back to the CAO.
Go ahead.
That's a little bit of my old school thinking, so converting in metrics. So the size of the lot is defined on the schedule that you see in the package, sorry. So it's like 24.7. So where it was done through a sketch as opposed to a full survey, you can do that without full subdivision approval.
Instrument
So
of-
because of that, and you're probably aware of that, your worship, in your other life. So the reason we went up to 25 is just when we get down to the brass tacks of the sketch, the surveyor completes. Just wanted to make sure we had that leeway to get, we need to go a little larger.
Perfect, thank you very much,
Yeah.
Mr. Boone.
So it's 24.7, and
Want me to read it? Want me to read it? Go ahead, your hen scratches all over it. I'll allow the CAO to read the motion.
yeah, it's 10,000, in excess of 10,000 square meters.
So I believe the motion to be put is that council approve the recommendation to acquire up to 25 acres of land, a portion of PID 25148727 from Sean Vandenberg for the price of $20,000 plus all closing costs, and authorize the CAO to execute all necessary documentation to complete the transaction. Is that accurate?
It is.
Perfect, thank you very much. The motion is now made. So, moved by Councilor Telling, seconded by Councilor Fromm. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Boone. I'm going to let you off the hot seat now.
I don't think I'll move until I'm sure.
6.2, adjourned tax sale minimum bids. Our Director, Amy Hurdle, will lead us in this item. Welcome, Amy. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is also a carryover from the in-camera earlier today. As we discussed at the last tax sale on October 21st, 2025, there were 7 properties that had no interest and were adjourned. 2 of those properties, the expenses are still around or below the assessed value. So we will continue to try to sell them at that amount. 5 of the properties we feel need an adjustment to a lower minimum bid. There is a chart in your package showing those 5 properties, the previous minimum bid if applicable, and the recommended minimum bid. If these properties all sold for the recommended minimum bid at the March 2nd tax sale, the Finance Department would be required to write off $67,000 in taxes, interest, and other expenses related to the properties. About $27,000 has already been included in the valuation allowance, so it's about a $40,000 adjustment. Again, we're looking to lower these for the tax sale that is this coming Tuesday. So if it is approved by council, we will update the posting on our website to the new recommended minimum bid approved by council.
Thank you very much, Amy. So the motion will be read by our CAO again.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the recommended motion is that council approve the lowering of minimum bids on 5 adjourned properties listed from the October 21st, 2025 tax sale to the recommended amounts in the attached table. And I think there are only 5 properties here, and so for the record, I'll read them if that's okay, Your Worship.
Go ahead.
That's the motion. The attached table includes this information. 1707 Highway 242 in River Hibbert, land, and the recommended bid is $4,000. 6 Wolseley Street in Spring Hill, and its land, and the recommended minimum bid is $2,800. 7691 Shooley Road in Joggins, and that again is land, and the recommended minimum bid is $6,050. 147 Harriet Road in Spring Hill, and again that's land, and the recommended minimum bid is $7,500. And 6 Lecky Street in Spring Hill, and again that is land, and the recommended minimum bid is $6,900. Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harrod. Somebody like to make that motion, please? Moved by Councillor Lockhart, seconded by Councillor McCormick. I'm having trouble spitting out that today for some reason. I don't know why. But, any conversation or discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Amy. 6.3, Accessibility Advisory Committee Terms of Reference. Mr. McCracken?
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. As you know, from our discussion last week in Committee of the Whole, the Accessibility Act requires prescribed public bodies, such as municipalities, to develop and implement plans to support the Accessibility Act. Our plan has been developed, so we've had a committee for the last year or so, and they've developed a plan, and we're now transitioning into monitoring implementation, and so we're proposing some changes to the terms of reference of the committee. The committee's main roles, if approved, will be to monitor the implementation of the plan and contribute to the annual report on progress, advise council on the creation of a refreshed plan, which needs to happen every 3 years. So the next one will be due in 2028. Advise council on the impact of municipal services, policies, and procedures on the public as it relates to accessibility, and when asked and required by the municipality, in collaboration with our community engagement coordinator, consult with the community on accessibility issues and provide input into events, campaigns, and that sort of thing. Once the terms of reference are approved, the committee recruitment will begin, and it'll be a 2-year term beginning in April. And happy to take any questions. There's a recommended motion in your package.
Thank you very much, Mr. McCracken. The recommended motion is the council approve the amended terms of reference for the Accessibility Advisory Committee. If someone would like to make that motion. Moved by Councillor Strong, seconded by Councillor Fromm. Any questions or comments on this? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. 7, information item 7.1, councillor recognition. Anything from this side of the room? Councillor Lockhart, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to recognize 2 individuals on some pretty special birthdays. Fred Remusma from Rodney, who celebrated his 90th birthday, and Dot Chambers from Spring Hill celebrated her 96th birthday. Had a lovely visit with Dot. She pretty sharp for her age. I'd also like to take this time, actually, I spoke with our MLA today, Tory Rushton, and he's also acknowledging these people in the legislature tomorrow. We had a little incident with a bus outside Spring Hill in Rodney about a month ago. Brakes seized up after a snowstorm and started to smoke and catch on fire, or didn't actually catch on fire. And the bus driver, Adrian Bekisek, kept her cool, pulled into our water treatment plant, and 2 of our employees, Evan Jardine and Brad Ward, came out to help and got all the kids, kept her calm, got all the kids off the bus safely, and all turned out to be very good stories. I'd really like to acknowledge them today for their act and going above and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Lockhart. Anyone else? If I could have a motion to adjourn. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gould. We are now adjourned. Thank you very much, folks.